This is Chris Richter for Board Gaming for the Win, coming at you with a special Red Nose Day game tutorial. This time, it'll be on a game called Qwixx. Now, if you're not familiar with this Fast and Furious family dice rolling game, I'm going to show you right now. In the game of Qwixx, you can have just about as many people as you can playing the game. You can have one person playing, so it is a pretty interesting solo game because you're just challenging yourself, or it does instruct 2 to 5 players. And when I like to play it on the app because it's a solo game, it kills some time. But when you're playing it with a bunch of people, so what you'll do is one person each turn will be the person rolling the dice. So this is what comes with the game. So you'll get a scoring pad. So everyone will get a sheet. You'll get 4 colored dice and 2 white dice. On your turn, you roll a dice. So these are the numbers that I have in this. So you'll take your 2 white dice and you'll put them together. Now everyone that is playing along has a decision to make. They can score the 2 white dice, or they don't have to score any of the dice at all. Now, the person who rolls the dice that turn has to do 1 or 2 things. Well, 1 or 3 things. 1 of 3 things. They either have to score the white dice and not worry about the colored dice, or they can score a colored die, so like the blue, the green, the yellow, or the red, along with a white die together. Or, if they can't score anything, they mark off on their little sheet that they can't score, so that's an X in the -5 point section. Now, the way this works is, I was the main roller, so I have a decision to make. I have to take, especially at the beginning of the game, I have to take at least one of these sets of numbers. So, the white is cool, I can take those, and I can mark off the 10 on the green or the 10 on the blue, and then I can mark off a blue and a white. Now, like I said before, you don't have to mark off the whites together, or you don't have to mark off any of the combinations. You can do one or the other, or, like I said again, if you can't, then you have to scratch. So on this one, I don't want to take the combination of the regular white dice, but I am going to take the combination of the blue and the white one together, come down here to the scorecard, and I mark off the 11, because that's 11, 6 plus 5 is 11. Now, the really interesting thing about this game is that once you move forward, you can't move back again. So, if, for example, I had to mark off this 8. I couldn't mark off anything behind it. I had to mark off that 8. If I had to mark off that 8, I can't go back. I can't go 9, 10, 11, 12. So the red, the yellow will always go from 2 to 12, and the blue and the green will always go from 12 to 2. So there is a slight change of the numbers ascending and descending. Now, the locks, this is where the game gets tricky. So once you cross out 5 numbers on one line, so you're playing the game, you're having a lot of fun with people, you notice that someone is getting close, they've got, say, 6, and you want to make sure that they can no longer get any more. Well, once you seal off a 5th one, and you come up with a 12, on that color row, then you can cross off the 12, and you cross off the lock, and that color is removed from the game. So no one can use that color any longer. And the same thing with any of the other rows. Once one of these rows is locked out, that color is gone. Now, once 2 of any of the rows are locked completely out, the game ends. And the same thing with the negatives. If one player scratches off 4, the game ends automatically because there's nothing really you can do about it. Now, the way this works in scoring is that everything is already pre-scored for you. So, for example, we were getting this wrong when we first played it. This counts as a marked off square. So, say you have 5 plus the 12 is 6, the lock is going to be 7. Now, if you got locked out somehow, say for example, I got locked out of this one at the towards the middle of gameplay, and that was the only thing I scored, I get 1 point. Now, if you score 7, say you had, the ones crossed up top, so you had 7, you get 28 points. And then, you subtract your negative points from it in this box. So every time you score for a row, you put it in the colored boxes, you subtract from your negatives, and that's how many points you get. So it's a pretty quick game to learn how to play. It's a little mathy, and it helps younger kids. I think they state it's a game for children of like 8 or up. I'm sure a child of 6 could play it. It's kind of like a more complex game of Yahtzee, but a lot better. So yeah, if you're on a trip or something, it comes in a really small box. I mean, all that fits in a little box, and it's not very big at all. The only thing that you're going to need to take with you is a pen, so you're going to need a writing implement. So that is Qwixx, Qwixx. It's by Gamewright Games. It's available at a lot of big box stores, so you can go to Target, you can go to Walmart, you'll be able to find it on the game shelves. You can follow along with my special Red Nose Day game tutorials here on YouTube, of course. You can follow along my game exploits on Twitter at boardgaming_FTW. You can read my reviews at WordPress, Board Gaming for the Win. You can also listen to my podcast, which I produce 3 days a week. It's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And those can be found on Board Game Geek, Google Play Music, and Podcast Garden. Thank you for joining me once again, and continue to enjoy watching my game tutorials. I'll have more posted throughout the day. Thank you, and have a good day.